Hello and welcome to another episode of Do You Want More? A UFC stat show right here on the Monk Maddox channel. I am your host Monk, aka the Monkmatician, and in this episode we're going to be breaking down the 4 fights to UFC 266, the prelim portion. 4 fights on the prelim card this week, so we're going to be going into all the stats for all 4 fights. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Taila Santos taking on Roxanne Modafferi, and women's flyweight fight. Santos 5'6", 68-inch reach, orthodox fighter, 28 years old. She is 17-1-0 professionally, 2-1 in the UFC. A third of her fights have gone the distance. 10 wins by KO, TKO, 2 wins by sub, never been finished. Roxanne Modafferi, we all know her, the Happy Warrior, 5'7", 69-inch reach, orthodox fighter. She will be 39 years old by the time Saturday rolls around. She is 25-18 professionally, 4-6 in the UFC. Just under 70% of her fights in her career have gone the distance. 11% of her fights have ended by KO, TKO, 4 wins, 1 loss. 18.5% by sub, 5 wins, 3 losses. See here, average fight time, we are over 15 minutes for Santos and over 15 for Modafferi. That's interesting. Santos with a 7.22 ass whoop index, 12th in the division. Never had a knockdown and never been knocked down. Modafferi, a negative ass whoop index, 0.21 power index, and she has been knocked down, but a pretty low chindex there. Santos opened -225, currently sitting -393. Modafferi opened +190, currently +297. Lots of line movement here. This fight is a -230. Fight goes to decision. I'm capping this pretty heavily, basically 2-1 for Santos here. Yeah, I'm sure I'm not alone there. Let's see, as far as finishes go, not too many. Modafferi has 1 second-round finish in the UFC, and there are no other finishes, win or lose. Striking data. Santos, 2.67 significant strikes landed per minute. And as I said in my last video, guys, if I say strikes, just assume that I mean significant strikes. So 2.67 strikes landed per minute for Santos, towards the lower end of the division. Not too much volume there. 42.86% accuracy. Her defense is much better than her offense, though. Her defense is good, I should say. 1.91 strikes landed against per minute. That is first in the women's flyweight division. 57.5% defense, giving her a differential 0.76 strikes landed per minute. 15th highest out of 44. So pretty good striking numbers there from Taila Santos. Or Taila Santos. We'll say Taila. 0.49% striking efficiency. Not great, but it is positive. And she has fought 30% of her total fight time at distance. Modafferi lands 3.15 strikes per minute at a 30% accuracy. Gets hit with just under 5 strikes per minute at a 55% defense. Terrible differential, -1.83 strikes landed per minute. That is 38th out of 44 in the division. She's got a terrible striking efficiency, -14.5%. She has spent over 50% of her total fight time at distance. She has thrown over 100 significant strikes in 8 fights, and when she does that, she lands 3.5 strikes per minute, but she's only won 2 out of 8 of those fights. Knockdown data, none for Santos, 1 knockdown for Modafferi and 1 against. Very low rates there. Takedown data, here we go. 7 of 9 for Santos, 78% accuracy, lands 2.33 takedowns per minute. Those are top 10 numbers. And her defensive numbers are incredible as well. 0.67 takedowns landed against per 15. 82% defense. That is the 7th highest in the division. Has a takedown differential, 1.67, top 10. 59.6% takedown efficiency. That is the 2nd best in the division. Just some really good takedown numbers there from Taila Santos. Modafferi on the other side, not good. Only lands 1.37 per 15, so that's not terrible, but only at a 28% accuracy. She gets hit with 1.56 takedowns per 15 at a 30% defense. She's only stuffed 7 of 23 takedowns, everybody. 7. 30% defense. That's really bad. Against a girl with 78% accuracy? I don't know about all that. She does have a negative differential, a terrible negative efficiency of negative 41.5%. That is god-awful. When she's faced this is Modafferi we're talking about. When she's faced 2 or more takedown attempts, which has happened in 5 of her 10 UFC fights, she's landed 2.65, or she's gotten hit with 2.65 takedowns against. And she's only won 1 of those fights. So the more takedowns you throw against Modafferi, the worse it goes for her. Control time data, 52% for Santos, 17.5% against, almost a 3-to-1 ratio. She spent 69.5% of her total fight time inside the distance and has controlled just under 75% of that fight time. Beastly numbers right there. Has a crazy, or not crazy, has a not great get up time, 236.5 seconds. Crazy good hold down time, top 10, 200 seconds there. Modafferi on the other side, 29.5% for, 18%, almost 19% against. So she does have a 1.5 control time ratio. Pretty good there, but nowhere near what Santos is at. She's fought under 50% of her fight time inside the distance, has controlled 61% of that grapple time, has a good get up time, top 11, great hold down time, top 10. So Modafferi has some good control time numbers as well, but Santos, they're just better. Sub attempts, 0 for 4 for Santos, 0 for 1 for Modafferi. Both have 100% submission defense rate. A bunch of reversals for Modafferi, 4, and then 8 against. That's crazy. 57% of the time Modafferi lands a takedown, it gets reversed. Some very good accuracy numbers. Well, compared to Modafferi, we'll just say Santos is leading the accuracy numbers and defensive numbers pretty much everywhere. Same with the volume, other than head striking. The volume and defensive volume is all Santos here. Striking efficiency, much better for Santos, but she is negative in body striking and leg striking and distance striking. So, but she does, her numbers are much better than Modafferi as far as the location differentials go as well. It's not even close. In fact, Modafferi gets outstruck from the head, body, legs, distance, clinch, ground, everywhere. Everywhere, as Nelly would say. Everywhere. Do you guys know people in St. Louis talk like that, according to Nelly? Taila Santos, 67.5% of all significant strikes she throws are to the head, 21 to the body, and 11 to the legs. Very good numbers there. Modafferi, much more of a headhunter. 92% of her strikes go to the head. Last 5 fights, we can skip Taila just because she hasn't had 5 fights, but Modafferi's had 10 fights. And she's not looking good though. There. Minus 2.08 strikes per minute differential in her last 5. Minus almost a whole takedown. Control time differential is better. Reversals are much worse. Ass whooping index is negative. She has a decent power index though. She does have that 1 knockdown in her last 5. So that's where that number comes from. Has not been knocked down. But she is trending down in every single category except strikes landed against per minute. These are categorical trends of her last 5 fights compared to her career. So she is looking pretty bad, especially in takedown defense. Minus 12.25% in her last 5. Not good. Strength of schedule in their professional fights. I do go outside the UFC for this numbers if it requires. 4-1 for Taila Santos. 2-3 for Modafferi. Modafferi's strength of schedule numbers much better. She's fought a tough bunch of women in the past 5. She's over 75 in all of these categories, which is very good. You want to be over 70, closer to 75. Anything more than that is fantastic. Taila is in the 50s here. Not a good look. You know, in her last 5, her average opponent, her last 5 opponents' average record is 8-6. So not good. She's beaten Jillian Robertson, Molly McCann, and Mara Romero Barella. That was very difficult for me to say for some reason. Modafferi lost to Arujo, Lauren Murphy, who's about to fight Shevchenko, and Jennifer Maia. All good fighters here, guys. So that's why the strength of schedules are so different. Here are some graphical analysis of certain categories. Taila Santos outstriking her opponents. much better on takedowns and much better control time. I mean, these numbers aren't even close to her opponents. Good looking graphs there. And then Modafferi, her opponents are well above her in striking, but she is trending up. Trending up in takedowns as well, but her opponents far above her. And then control time, she's actually doing much better than her opponents, but she is trending down. Something to keep a look at, or keep an eye on there. And then Taila Santos dominates the basic fight metrics here, all except for fight time at distance. Santos never been finished, and then has the much worse strength of schedule, as we talked about. And here's some aggregate win-loss percentages as well. Kind of, both records put together and how they fare as far as finishes go in their career. So pretty high finish rate, 50% for both of these women in their career, but much lower in the UFC, and that is something that you will see as the caliber of opponent is usually much higher in the UFC. It is the best fighting organization in the world. So there you go. Not expecting to finish here. And that was 11 minutes. I'll try to go a little bit quicker on these next ones. Next fight. Whoops, can't spell. Chris Daukaus going against Shamil Abdurakhimov. Heavyweight fight. Daukaus, 6'3", 76-inch reach, orthodox fighter. He will be 32 years old by the time this fight pops off. 11-3 professionally, 3-0 in the UFC. Only 7% of his fights have ever gone the distance. 85%, almost 86, have ended by knockout TKO. 10 wins, 2 losses. Just a powerful guy. 7% by sub. He has no sub wins, 1 sub loss. Abdurakhimov, 6'3", 76-inch reach. Measurables are exactly the same according to the UFC, although Chris Daukaus on average does come in heavier. Abdurakhimov is over 40 years old here. 20-5 professionally, 5'3" in the UFC. 32% of his fights professionally have gone the distance. 48% have ended by KO, TKO. 9 wins, 3 losses. And 20% by sub, 4 wins, 1 loss. The ass whoop index for Daukaus is fantastic, 89, best in the division. Now, he has a very small sample size. He has 3 UFC fights, only has 7 minutes in the UFC. So, this is kind of a Tom Aspinall type situation here. Power index, 4.76, also the highest in the heavyweight division. So, he's got the highest ass whoop index and the highest power index. Abdurakhimov, not so much. Pretty okay, 0.52 ass whoop index. Good power index, just under 1. Never been knocked down. Daukaus opened -140, currently -186. Abdurakhimov opened +120, currently +153. This fight is at -210, doesn't go to decision. I'm capping this fight, Chris Daukaus, -244. And I don't even have the inside the distance odds yet. So I'm sure that number is going to be even bigger. I already put a bet down on this fight. I think Chris Daukaus absolutely smashes him. I think -185, -186. I got it at -185. I think that's too low. I think this is an Aspinall and Sergey Spivak situation. If Sergey Spivak was over 40 and hadn't fought in 2 years, I mean, come on, bro. What are we doing? 185? That's the average line here. I'm gonna put some more money on that. I just convinced myself. Chris Daukaus, all 3 of his fights, round 1 finish wins. Sound familiar? Abdurakhimov, 1 fight, finish in the first, 1 in the second, and he's also lost in the first, second, and fourth in the UFC. Basic striking data. I mean, Chris Daukaus has the best numbers in the division. 11.76 strikes landed per minute. 11.76 strikes landed per minute at a 62% accuracy. 3rd highest in the division. Gets hit with 3.2. I mean, he just brushes those bitches off. 3.2 strikes per minute at a 65% defense. Come on, man. His differential, 8.54 strikes landed per minute. Get the fuck out of here. 1st in the division. Probably 1st in the entire UFC. But I don't know that off the top of my head, but it's up there. 27% efficiency. He's spent 76.19% of his total fight time at distance. Let's check out Abdurakhimov's numbers. Boring. 2.45 per minute landed at a 45% accuracy. Gets hit with 2.45 per minute at a 59% accuracy for a 0 differential. So a decent defense there. But when you're going against a guy that throws 19 significant strikes per minute, bro. What are you're only going to get hit with 2.45? I don't think so. I don't think so. And especially with that power. Advanced striking data for Abdurakhimov, 3% efficient, spends 74.2% of his total fight time at distance. Daukaus has 4 knockdowns and 3 wins. That's an 8.4 knockdown per 15 rate. Amazing. Abdurakhimov has 2 knockdowns, 0.35 knockdowns per 15 minutes. Has won the fights in which he scored a knockdown. Basic takedown data, nothing for Daukaus. Has not been takedown, stuffed 1 of 1. So he's got 100% takedown defense. Not really worried about it, though, going against Shamil Abdurakhimov, who only in 8 fights lands 7 takedowns out of 29, 24% accuracy, 1.23 takedowns landed per 15. Takedown defense, subpar, 47%. I mean, and he has a 6% takedown shooting rate. This guy is going to attempt to take down Chris Daukaus, and I don't blame him. That's probably his path to victory. I don't know if that's going to happen, though. You got to get inside of Daukaus to do that. He is negative 28%, almost 29% takedown efficiency rate. Abdurakhimov. Basic control time data, 18.214. Chris Daukaus, 5.5 against. That is a 3-to-1 control time ratio. Has spent 23.8% of his total fight time inside the distance. Has controlled 76.5% of that fight time. So he does know what he's doing, it appears, in the small sample size that we do have of grappling time for Chris Daukaus. Abdurakhimov controls 14% of his fight time, gets controlled 11.5%. That is a positive ratio. Spends 25, almost 26% of his fights inside the distance. Controls 55.66% of that fight time. So pretty respectable number there as well. Has a very good get-up time, 65 seconds, third best in the heavyweight division. And has a decent hold-down time of 105 seconds. Abdurakhimov has been subbed in the UFC. Nope, I'm wrong. Again, I'm reading this wrong. He's 0 for 1 in his sub attempts. He's never been subbed in the UFC. Let's see here. No reversal data. Striking data is all Daukaus, and it's not close. I mean, he's got the accuracy, the defense, the volume, the defensive volume for the most part. It's crazy numbers. 10.36 head strikes landed per minute for Daukaus. 60% accuracy. This is ridiculous. Efficiency, over 100% we're positive everywhere. Leg striking efficiency is 0. He probably has never even thrown a leg strike. That's not true, but it is 0. Abdurakhimov is very low in his efficiency, negative in a few spots. I mean, our differentials are crazy here. 6.02 strikes from distance per minute from Daukaus. Differential, I mean, almost 2 ground strikes differential per minute. Crazy. Abdurakhimov barely above 1 in most of these, and negative in half of them. Chris Daukaus, 91% of all significant strikes he's thrown have been to the head, 6% to the body, 3% to the legs, 75.5% to the head for Abdurakhimov, 12% to the body, 12% to the legs. Last 5 we can skip. Well, I guess Abdurakhimov we can look at. 1.87 ass weapon index, has a very good power index of 2.17, half of Daukaus though, and has not been knocked down. Let's see. In his last 5, categorically, trending down in most of these categories. Takedown accuracy is up 9%, so pretty good look there. Takedown defense down 20%. Significant strikes landed against per minute actually has gotten better, but we'll see how that pans out against the highest volume guy in the heavyweight division. And strength of schedule, 4-1 for Daukaus in his last 5, 3-2 for Shamil. And Daukaus has the strength of schedule. It is pretty close, but it is Daukaus's. Abdurakhimov's strength of defeat is better. He did lose to Blades and Lewis. So some decent strength of schedules there for the first time on this card. Take a look at the last 5 if you would like. And look, I mean, Abdurakhimov may have won that Derek Lewis fight. He got outstruck, but he landed 4 takedowns and controlled 40% of the fight. Ended with a positive ass whoop index of 2.11. Couple of graphs before we move on. Trending way up is Chris Daukaus in his striking. He's not even close to his opponents. no takedown numbers, and his control time is way above his opponents as well. Abdurakhimov trending down when it comes to striking, opponents trending up, and his opponents are above him as far as average goes. Same with takedowns. Bad look for Abdurakhimov, and even worse in control time. His opponents are about to surpass him if he keeps going in that direction. Basic fight metrics. This is all Daukaus except for takedown accuracy, in which he's never tried to take down, so he has none. Both guys have been finished. Daukaus much more powerful. That's the one number that stands out to me here. And then strength of schedule is pretty much Daukaus except for that strength of victory number. Otherwise, it's not even close. And then finish-wise, as you might expect, inside the UFC, outside the UFC, all losses by finish. 62% of the wins by finish. I mean, crazy high numbers. I do not expect this fight to go the distance. All right. Next fight, Dan Hooker going against Nasrat Haqparast. Lightweight fight. Hooker, 6 foot tall, 75-inch reach, switch stance, 31 years old, 20-10 professionally, 10-6 in the UFC. 30% of his fights do go the distance. 40% end by KO TKO. 10 wins, 2 losses, and he has 7 sub wins, 2 sub losses on his career. 5.45 ass whoop index, has a very good power index of 0.85 and an okay chin index of 0.25, 35th in the division out of 74 fighters. Haqparast on the other side, 5'10", 72-inch reach, southpaw fighter, 26 years old, 13-3 professionally, 5-2 in the UFC. 31% of his fights have gone the distance. 62% have ended by KO TKO, 9 wins, 1 loss, and he has been subbed 1 time in his career. 5.48 ass whoop index, so just a notch better than Dan Hooker. 0.84 power index, so just a notch lower than Dan Hooker. And then a 0.38 index, which is worse than Hooker's, and about half or a little below average in the division. Let's see, Dan opened up at minus 150, currently minus 174. Haqparast opened plus 130, currently plus 143. This is a minus 150 fight, doesn't go to decision. I am leading Dan Hooker currently on this fight. Pretty high finish rate there for Hooker, 80%, 33% finish loss rate. Some round finishing data. Very much higher numbers for Hooker compared to Nasrat over here. Dan has 5 round 1 finish wins, 2 round 2 finish wins, round 3 finish win. Very good numbers. Basic striking data. Dan Hooker, 4.95 strikes landed per minute, 48% accuracy, 4.92 landed against per minute, 52% defense, barely positive striking differential, 0.04. That is 45th highest out of 74 lightweight fighters. Nasrat, let's see, 5.81 landed per minute, 10th highest in the division, 47% accuracy. Gets hit with only 3.23 per minute at a 74.5% defense. Striking differential, 2.58 per minute. That is 4th highest in the division. Very good striking numbers from Nasrat Haqparast here. Very good. Top 10. Advanced striking data. Haqparast has spent 83% of his total fight time at distance, while Hooker has spent 73%. Knockdown data, 7 for Dan Hooker, 4 for Haqparast, 1 against and 2 against for Hooker. Takedown data, 0.72 takedowns landed per 15 for Dan Hooker, 35% accuracy, has a very good takedown defense of 79.69%, has stuffed 51 out of 64 takedown attempts. Very good. Has a 14.47 takedown efficiency. Haqparast on the other side, not very high volume at all. 0.18 takedowns landed per 15, 16% accuracy. But his defense is even better than Hooker's at 84%. He stuffed 21 out of 25 takedowns shot against him. 0.67 takedown efficiency. Control time data. Dan Hooker, 17% for, 10% against, 1.7% control time ratio. Controls about half a round per fight. 27% of his total fight time has been fought inside the distance, and he controls just under 63% of that fight time. He has a great get-up time, 76.5 seconds, and a very good hold-down time, 211 seconds, 10th highest in the division. Nasrat on the other side, 6% control time, just under 11% control time against. That is almost, you know, a 2-to-1 ratio against as far as control time goes. Has fought 16.7% of his total fight time inside the distance. Has controlled only 35.9% of that fight time. Has a slow get-up time, 131 seconds, but has a very good hold-down time of 295 seconds, third highest in the division. Reversals, 2 for Hooker, no numbers for Haqparast. And Haqparast numbers are much better as far as striking accuracy, defense, volume, defensive volume. It's all Nasrat Haqparast here. I mean, 4.51 head strikes landed per minute, 7th highest in the division. Very good. Body striking is over 1. Distance striking is just under 5. Some good numbers there. His efficiency is positive pretty much across the board except for legs, and then inside the distance is not very good. But his differentials are fantastic. Over 2 strikes difference per minute to the head and from distance compared to very average numbers here from Dan Hooker. 76% of all strikes Hooker has thrown have gone to the head. 10, almost 11 to the body, 13 to the legs. Last 5 fights for both of these guys, 4-1 for Haqparast, 3-2 for Hooker. Let's see, Haqparast seems to have the better striking numbers, at least defensively and offensively for the most part. Hooker has the takedown numbers though. Nothing to show for Haqparast here. Has a 3.09 significant strikes landed per minute differential in his last 5. Amazing. Hooker has the control time though and the takedown numbers. Both very good ass whoop index, very good power index, and a little too high chin index for me. Let's see. Professionally, strength of schedule is going to go to Dan Hooker. His strength of victory is worse than Haqparast though. But overall the numbers do belong to Dan Hooker in my opinion, as far as strength of schedule. But both guys looking very good. I mean, we're right around the 75 mark as far as, you know, the strength of schedule numbers. Hooker has the much better strength of defeat than Haqparast does, though. Hooker's lost to Chandler and Poirier in his last 5, while Haqparast has lost to Drew Dober. And there are the last 5 fights, if you want to take a look at those. Nothing really jumping out to me there, except James Vick getting that ass whooped as usual. Dan Hooker started off very good. Striking is trending down, though. Currently above his opponents, though, as far as average goes. His takedown numbers are going up and way above his opponents. And same with control time, trending up. But, you know, he's 4-1 on his control time here to his opponents. Haqparast, pretty even keel as far as striking goes, far above his opponents for the most part. No takedown numbers while his opponents trend up. And then he is trending down on his control time. Visual statistical recap. Haqparast pretty much has the defense here. And then Hooker with the offense and the grapple time. Fight finishing metrics, much better for Hooker, although Haqparast does come off as more powerful and has a better win percentage. And the strength of schedule, I'm going to give to Dan Hooker, but that strength of victory does go to Haqparast. And then there are the finish numbers. Much higher outside the UFC than inside, but still decent finish numbers there. I bet you this fight goes the distance, and I am leaning Dan Hooker here, but that could change as I am only capping this 53% to 47%. All right, guys, last fight of the prelims. Let's see if I can spell that right. Nailed it. Merab Dvalishvili going against Marlon Moraes. Oh, I love looking at Merab's numbers, man. I love looking at Kamaru's numbers, and I love looking at Merab's numbers. So let's check this out. Dvalishvili, 5'6", 68-inch reach, orthodox fighter, 30 years old. This is going to be a bantamweight fight. Merab is 13-4 professionally, 6-2 in the UFC. Average fight time of 15 minutes. 22.42 ass whoop index, third highest in the division, has an okay power index and a perfect chin index. Marlon Moraes on the other side, bantamweight, 5'6", 67-inch reach, orthodox fighter, 33 years old. He's 23-8-1 professionally, 5-4 in the UFC. Let's see here. has a negative ass whoop index, a good power index of 1.59, and a terrible chindex of 0.98. Let's look at these finish numbers. I did skip them on accident. 76.5% of Merab's fights have gone the distance. He does have 2 knockout wins and 1 sub win, 1 sub loss. Marlon Moraes, 28% of his fights go the distance, 10 wins by KO, 5 losses, and 6 wins by sub, 2 losses. Merab opened, oh god, this makes me sad, minus 110. Oh, I wish I would have seen that. He's currently minus 235. Marlon Moraes, minus 110, currently plus 188. Mad line movement here, as you might expect. This is a minus 165. Fight goes to decision. I'm obviously leaning Merab here. Oh, I wish I could have got on that 110. And these cappy numbers, I don't know. I'm leaning way heavier on Merab than 57%. But hey, what do I know? Moraes does have 3 round 1 finishes, has been finished in the first, second, and third round. Striking data, Merab lands 4 strikes per minute. 39% accuracy, gets hit with 2.22 strikes per minute at a 62% defense. 1.8 significant strikes landed per minute differential. That is the 14th highest out of 70 in the bantamweight division. A positive striking efficiency, and he spends 52% of his total fight time at distance, which is surprising for a guy like Merab to have all these numbers better than all these numbers for Moraes. That is crazy. Moraes lands 3.38 strikes per minute, 39% defense. Gets hit with 4.11 strikes per minute at a 57% defense. Negative differential 0.74. Significant strike differential 51 out of 70. He's a negative striking efficiency as well. He does spend a majority of his time at distance, 87.43%. I have a feeling that average is going to drop pretty, a little bit lower than that after fighting Merab. Call it a hunch. I don't know. Maybe. Merab is, let's see, 6-8 when he throws over 100 significant strikes in a fight. How crazy is that? He does have a knockdown as well. Never been knocked down. Moraes has 4 knockdowns, 3 against. Basic takedown data. Wow. Merab, 7.38 takedowns landed per 15 minutes. He throws 17 takedowns per 15 minutes. These are 1 and 2 in the division. 44% accuracy. Gets hit with only 0.38 takedowns per 15. 79% takedown defense. His takedown per 15 differential is 7. That's the second highest in the division. He has an 11% takedown shooting rate. 22% takedown efficiency. I mean, come on. Do we even have to read the numbers from Moraes? Does it even matter? I mean, he's got a decent takedown defense, 66%, but he's only stuffed 6 of 9. That's okay. Rob's attempted 135 takedowns in his career. That's 8 fights. You sons of bitches. What are you thinking? We're not even going to read those numbers. Basic control time data, 42% from Merab, 5.5% against. That is a 7.5 control time ratio. I mean, he controls 6.3 minutes per 15. Fights 48% of his time inside the distance, controls 88% of that grappling time. Has a not great get-up time, but he's not trying to get up. Has an okay hold-down time. Marlon Moraes on the other side. I mean, control time 7.5, control time against 5.11. I think that's going to go up in this fight. Has a decent get-up time and an okay hold-down time. Only fought 12.5% inside the distance. He's controlled 60% of that time. But he's never fought Merab before. I don't think this is going to be close, you guys. And the striking numbers, look at this. The volume and defensive volume all goes to Dvalishvili. How crazy is that? His efficiency is better for the most part. His differentials are better everywhere. I mean, he's got a 1.45 head strike differential per minute. 81% of all strikes Dvalishvili throws are to the head, 9.5 to the body, 8.5 to the legs. 78 from Marlon Moraes go to the head, 11 to the body, 11 to the legs. 96, almost 97% of all significant strikes Moraes has thrown have been at distance. I mean, just incredible. Rob, 5-0 in his last 5 compared to 2-3 from Moraes. And look at all this green compared to all this red right here. I mean, the significant strikes per minute differential from Merab, almost 2. 7.2 takedowns landed per 15 differential, 34% control time. I mean, come on. Ass whooping index in the last 5 is a 23. That's a crazy high number. He's whooping people's asses. And Marlon Moraes, negative ass whooping index. A decent power number, awful chindex. Awful. Merab trending up in every single category except for takedown defense. Takedown defense has improved from Moraes over the last 5 compared to his career, up 8%, and he's going to need every bit of that 8%. Now, Moraes has one of the best strength of schedules on this card. Dvalishvili's strength of schedule is also very good. I mean, we're almost at 75s here across the board, but Moraes is over 80 everywhere except strength of victory, and he's right there. I mean, second highest ratios across the board. I mean, looking pretty good for both guys, but specifically Marlon Moraes. He's lost to Rob Font Sandhagen, beat Aldo, lost to Cejudo, and beat Asuncao. I mean, much better names than Dvalishvili has been fighting in the past 5. And some graphs. I mean, these aren't even close for Dvalishvili. He is trending down in takedowns and control time. But when you're that high, I mean, where else can you go but down? You know what I mean? And he is even trending up on his striking. And he's way above his opponents. These are crazy striking numbers from one of the best wrestlers in the UFC. And then Marlon Moraes, not great. Trending down in striking. Opponents trending way up. Way up. He is trending up in his takedowns and his control time. But, I mean, you're fighting Merab. That's going to be meaningless. Fight metrics. Moraes has time fought at distance, and that's about it. Merab better everywhere else. Fight finishing metrics. Merab never been knocked out, has been subbed. Moraes has the better power and sub index, and the win percentage goes to Merab. Merab, worse strength of schedule, as we covered, but has not been beaten in his last 5. And then finish numbers, pretty low. I think this goes the distance, most likely. I think Merab's just going to wipe the floor with Marlon Moraes. I don't see how this is going to be close at all. But maybe that's just me. All right, guys, we did it. We are at the end of the prelim portion of UFC 266. All 4 fights in the books, just under 40 minutes. Thank you so much for sticking around. Stay tuned for the main card breakdown. There's 5 fights left that I need to break down for UFC 266, and that's going to be recorded right after this one. So if you missed the early prelims, go check that out. 5 fights on that. And then, yeah, stay tuned for the main card. Once again, please make sure you do your fight study as well. The stats only take you so far. Some fights farther than others, but you really need to do that fight tape. So have fun, man. Watch some fights. That's what you're here for. You like to watch fights? Go watch the fights then. So pair those together. Make that wallet fat, boy. Like Chef Boyardee, all right? Rotund wallet. That's what we're talking about here. So thanks again for joining me. I will catch you in the next one. Have a good one, guys. Peace out.